обеспечивать свою безопасность, как я уже сказал, в среднесрочной и более отдаленной перспективе. И мы это обсуждаем с нашими партнерами, со всеми нашими партнерами, включая...
If he invades, it hasn't happened since World War II. This has been the most consequential thing that's happened in the world in terms of war and peace since World War II.
В принципі, слова, я не дуже словам довіряю, тому я вважаю, що у кожного політика відкритість в конкретних кроках. В нашому випадку це кроки щодо деескалації. Я вважаю, що для цього, тим більше, що людина дуже відкрита, оскільки я розумію, то для цього у цій людині все є.
Will he or won't he? For 3 months, the world was on edge. Everybody was trying to make sense of Russian President Vladimir Putin's plans. Will Russia invade Ukraine? Some said there will be no war. Others said that Putin is trying to draw attention to himself. But there was a massive mobilization of Russian troops in Crimea and Belarus. This added to the hysteria. On February 24th, rumors were put to rest. This was no warmongering, but a full-fledged war. Russian missiles hit military installations and civilian targets. Armed Russian soldiers crossed the border. The invasion happened from the north, east, and the south. Putin called it a special military operation, launched to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine and protect ethnic Russians. The Russian president also wanted to block Ukraine's NATO membership and keep it under their influence. Ukraine called this invasion an illegal act. As Russian troops reached the outskirts of Kyiv, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky released a video.
Тут захищаємо нашу незалежність, нашу державу. І так буде й далі. Слава нашим захисникам, слава нашим захисницям.
In March, Russian forces gained control of the southern city of Kherson. They also occupied a large part of Zaporizhia, including the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, which is Europe's largest nuclear power plant. On March 16th, Russia targeted a strategic port city of Mariupol. A theater came under attack where civilians were taking shelter. Hundreds of people were killed. This was one of the deadliest attacks. And by the end of the month, Moscow decided to focus on the eastern part of Ukraine. Focus shifted to Donbass. This is where Russia-backed forces have been fighting Ukrainian forces since 2014. In April, the brutalities of the war made headlines around the world. The town of Bucha revealed signs of torture. Bodies were scattered on pavements. Witnesses claimed that Russian soldiers refused to allow people to escape through humanitarian corridors. World leaders called for Russia to be held accountable for possible war crimes. India joined the global community in unequivocally condemning the killings and called for an independent investigation. But this was just the beginning. On April 9th, a Russian missile struck a train station, leaving many dead. An intense battle was raging on in Mariupol. In May, after nearly 3 months of fighting, Ukrainian forces defending the Azovstal steel mill in Mariupol agreed to surrender. With this, Ukraine was cut off from its Azov coast. Soon, Finland and Sweden submitted their applications to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. In June, the United States sent HIMARS multiple rocket launchers to Ukraine. In July, a major deal was signed. The ongoing war threatened global food security. This was when Russia and Ukraine inked a deal to unblock supplies of grain stuck in Black Sea ports. In August, Daria Dugina, the daughter of Russian nationalist Alexander Dugin, was killed. Dugin was once called Putin's brain. Russian security services blamed Ukraine for the killing. In September, Ukrainian forces launched a surprise counteroffensive in the northeastern region of Kharkiv. Ukraine began to recapture many cities which were occupied by Russian forces for months. This forced Putin to order a partial mobilization of 300,000 reservists. The war was hitting home for ordinary Russians now, who were now suddenly expected to fight on the front lines. Needless to say, the move proved to be unpopular. Hundreds of thousands of men of military age started fleeing to neighboring countries. Russians fled to Finland, Georgia, Kazakhstan, the UAE, and other countries by car, bicycle, or on foot. At the same time, Russia introduced referendums in 4 regions of Ukraine: Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia. Putin formally declared these regions as part of Russia. These 4 regions, along with Crimea, are about the same size as the United States state of Pennsylvania. Ukraine and its allies dismissed the referendum and called it a sham. In October, there was another major attack. A bridge linking Crimea to Russian mainland was blown up. Putin blamed Ukraine for the attack, and Russia responded with missile attacks on Ukraine's power plants and other key infrastructures. They also pulled out of the grain deal after claiming Ukraine attacked its Black Sea fleet in Crimea. In November, Russia ordered its forces to pull out of the city of Kherson, but Ukraine remained cautious. Volodymyr Zelensky said the enemy does not give us gifts and does not make goodwill gestures. But it was around this time that Russia agreed to rejoin the grain deal, while asking the West to lift sanctions on its agricultural exports. In December, Zelensky visited the United States. This was his first foreign trip abroad since the war broke out. He met United States President Joe Biden and addressed the United States Congress. He demanded Patriot air defense missile systems and other weapons. In January, as the world welcomed 2023, newly mobilized Russian soldiers were killed by a Ukrainian missile strike in Makivka. Russia declared that it had captured the mining town of Soledar as Moscow turned its focus on Bakhmut. 1 year on, the war rages on. Attacks, bombings, brutalities continue. Both sides are running low on weapons, and there's no end in sight.